Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Me? Well, I'm staggered that it's Monday again already. However, I did manage to squeeze in some fishing this weekend, and my training for Bauma is going well so far. I'm also a week closer to my first holiday in 3 years, which is coming up at the end of this month. I'll tell you more about that a bit closer to the date. So, without further ado, let me roll the intro, post the question of the day, and get this show on the road. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Mark Anthony. It is Monday, the 8th of August, and as that remarkably persistent guy just said, welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, a crane hirer explains his passion for sustainability. We're off to the US for some top-notch factory demolition. We travel even further along the road to Bauma, and a construction project in Lincoln requires the expert assistance of a demolition contractor. But we will be starting with the greed, stupidity, and short-sightedness of the industry's training regime. And we'll get to all of that in just a second. But first, let's see who among the rich and the shameless will be celebrating a birthday on this day of days. Happy birthday! And it's many happy returns to great train robber Ronnie Biggs and to iconic actor Dustin Hoffman. Happy birthday also to actor Keith Carradine, F1 world champion and moustache enthusiast Nigel Mansell, to Chris Foreman of Madness, and to The Edge from U2, to cricketer Angus Fraser, boxer Chris Eubank, and to Swiss tennis machine Mr. Roger Federer. Many happy returns to them, one and all. Now, I realise it's quite lazy journalism to reference your own work, but I hope you'll forgive me on this occasion. But first, let me fetch my soapbox. There it is. Earlier today, my latest weekly column dropped. It's called Demolition Duality, and it refers to the countless double standards that proliferate and thrive in the field of demolition and construction. Double standards like claiming to be aware of mental health issues while maintaining a work environment that actually contributes to those mental health issues. Like saying there should be more women in construction while operating sites on which no self-respecting woman would ever wish to work. Like claiming that it wants to learn from incidents, accidents, and fatalities while doing its level best to cover up any that actually occur. And then there's the double standard that is the reason for me referencing my own work this morning. In that column, I said, the industry continually complains about the lack of skilled workers, but it has engineered a training and competence card regime so complex and so expensive that it is no longer a stepping stone into the industry, but an insurmountable barrier to entry. Rather than being a means by which to nourish and replenish the industry's workforce, training has become the lush pasture used purely to fatten the training cash cow. I have to say, I'm quite proud of that last part. But as it turns out, I didn't go far enough in my criticism of the training regime's greed and stupidity. I've been forwarded a message by our friend Mick Norton. The message was an email from a guy called Martin Raw, director of Martin Raw Brickworks. And this is what his message had to say. I just had 5 of my bricklayers go for their CSCS cards, which they all passed. But to get their cards, they have to do a 6-week assessment by someone who will not be as experienced as them. Apparently, all qualifications before 1991 are not recognised now, so you need an NVQ. With the shortage of tradesmen at this present time, and things are going to get worse because the average age of tradesmen will be quite high, I would think. So is it up to the big companies to do something about this, as I don't think it's a legal requirement, just a money spinner. If this is not looked into, these companies will just have the young bluffers, as he calls them, coming through to build to NHBC standards and win their awards, and it will be no fun for site managers either. My lads have told me they are not going to do the assessment, so it will be early retirement for them and the loss of 5 quality bricklayers. Something has to be done. It's a joke. And frankly, I have to agree, it most certainly is a joke. Only the joke isn't actually funny. Now, there's a lot to unpack here, but let me just start with the most obvious part of all of this. Qualifications achieved prior to 1991 are no longer recognised. So let's say someone achieved their necessary qualifications at the age of 20 in 1990. That person now would be 51 or 52 years of age. They potentially have another decade and a half left of work left in them. And the training regime believes that they now need to prove all that they have learned in a more than 3 decades of work. There is only one reason that is the case, and that reason is money. As far as I'm aware, there is no report that says construction workers from 1990 or before were in any way inferior to those that have earned their stripes since. I've never seen a medical report that bricklayers hit the age of 50 and all the knowledge acquired during their career suddenly starts to seep out of their ears. I've seen no evidence of veteran bricklayers staring at a trowel in wonderment and vague familiarity as they try to figure out what it was once used for. The 1991 cutoff is purely arbitrary. It's a date plucked out of the air as a means to keep the cash rolling in. And that is not cash for the industry. It is cash purely for those that leech off it under the guise of education. How much does the UK construction industry spend each year on attempting to attract young people into its fold? Millions? Tens of millions. The money raised by penalising our most experienced workers will not even put a dent into that figure. And even if that recruitment is successful, and history suggests that it most certainly isn't, it would have attracted young people that, initially at least, are green, wet behind the ears, and that are of only limited value to the industry. In addition to formal training, they will certainly need to be taken under the wing of an experienced worker. One that has 20 or 30 years of experience. Oh no, hang on. The bloated cash cow of the construction training system has used its horns to push them into early retirement. So not only are So not only are we not dropping enough people into the top of the industry's recruitment funnel, we are now squeezing older and more experienced workers out of the bottom more quickly than the funnel is being filled. It's greedy, it's short-sighted, and it is almost unimaginably stupid. It's also another double standard for me to add to my list. Now, if you'd like to read that column, you can do so over at demolitionnews.com. It is today's lead story. Now, on with the show.
The Miller GT series heralds a new era of unrivaled power and cutting-edge intelligent coupler technology, increasing job site safety, machine versatility, and productivity. It's the added versatility that you need at the value you can afford. To find out more, visit millergroundbreaking.com.
Right, while I catch my breath and allow my anger to dissipate just a little, how about a spot of factory demolition? you, but I feel better for that. Okay, the video I'm about to play you is approximately 30 seconds long. It shows the demolition work of our friends over in Germany, the mighty Hagedorn. And even though the film is spectacular, I think you'll be grateful it's only 30 seconds long. Are you ready? Then hold on to your breakfast. I need to lie down after that. We have something of a first today. We're going to talk cranes, not once, but twice. As Tristan Mays of cranehub.net alerted me to the first one, I'm pretty sure he's not worried about me stepping on his toes. And even if he is, he's on his travels at the moment, so he probably won't know. Now, while the first film features a crane company, the story itself is not about cranes. It's about sustainability.
Hey, I'm Matt Waddingham from Cabin Cranes. I want to talk about sustainability for a minute. Sustainability for us is about taking the long view. It's about following a set of values that look after people and make a positive impact on our communities and the world around us. But right now, I want to talk specifically about environmental sustainability. I know it's easy to ignore. Our lives are okay, and it's a difficult thing to confront and accept, but we have to accept it because it's happening right now. Have a look around. The climate is changing in front of our eyes, and it's our responsibility. But once we accept it's our responsibility, we realise it's in our power to do something about it. But the time for action is slipping away. So let me tell you what cabins are doing. We were the first company in our industry to trial and switch to hydrotreated vegetable oil as an alternative to diesel for our crane fleet. Moving hundreds of tonnes of metal around the country every day takes a lot of fuel. And in 2019, we produced nearly 700 tonnes of CO2. So this is where we have concentrated our efforts. Our switch to HVO will see our CO2 drop below 180 tonnes this year. And our plan to roll this out across all our vans, trucks and sport vehicles will mean it drops below 50 tonne next year. And we're looking at so much more beyond that. Trying to frame all of our decisions with our impact in mind. We want to lead our industry, we want to influence our suppliers, but also our competitors and our customers. We'll be publishing our sustainability roadmap later this year, and we want to be net zero by 2025 or earlier. But it ain't going to be easy. There's a lot to learn, there's a lot to be concerned about, and there's a lot at stake. The wheels need to keep turning. We all need jobs. But that's the key to sustainability. And the challenge for cabins is not much different from the challenge for society. How do we look after each other? How do we look after our communities and the world around us to ensure that we continue to be here? And we love a challenge, don't we? I'm quite excited about it. I trust in the ingenuity of this company. I trust in the ingenuity of people to find the right solution. And how cool would it be if in 100, 200, 1,000 years, this generation was remembered as a generation that saved the world.
That's pretty profound for a first thing on a Monday morning, but I have to say hats off to Matt and the entire team at Cadman Cranes. Now, let's stick with all things crane related as we look ahead and another of the likely highlights of Bauma 2022. I know Tristan is planning to convince me that cranes are in fact interesting, so I don't want to appear too excited. But even I will have to admit, that is a pretty smart bit of kit. Now then, at demolition contractors within easy reach of Lincoln, lend me your ears, because this one is for you. $6 million of your finest English quids have been set aside for the alteration and conversion of a student accommodation block at Todson House in Beaumont Fee in Lincoln. The work will create 41 new self-contained student apartments together with a shared lounge and kitchen facilities. Castle House Construction is thought to be among the frontrunners for the new build portion of the works, but before they or anyone else can make a start, there is a small matter of the partial demolition of an existing building, and at the time of broadcast, a suitable demolition contractor has yet to be appointed. Now, you can find out more about this project lead and countless more just like it over at buildersconference.co.uk. Alternatively, and you may prefer, you can speak directly to Siobhan Jones using the number displayed at the foot of your call, the foot of your screen. She's standing by to take your call. That makes more sense. Let me press this.
Sorry to interrupt the guy with the funny glasses, but if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button as it helps our channel. Or, better still, share this video with a friend or a colleague. Thank you. Right, back to Beardy.
Right, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. If you can't stick around for that, then please stay safe, look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. And be sure to check out Demolition Duality over on demolitionnews.com or on my LinkedIn account. Either or, take your pick. But if you do have the time and the inclination, I will see you on the other side of this.